Hello again, YouTube. My name is Bree, and in today's video, I am back in my Etchr B5 sketchbook with Roman Szmal watercolors. So I haven't used these watercolors too recently, I don't think, and I was missing them. I also thought that for this video, I was just going to do a study, and I thought they would be the perfect choice for it, so I'm in my little happy place right now. Honestly, for my first painting of 2025, or rather my first speed paint video of 2025, I've been painting quite a bit this month and I'm very proud of myself for it. I thought I would do, I thought I would want to do something bigger, more complex, more interesting, but honestly, I was still feeling that like mental drain from the Kaladin piece I did in December because that required a bit more thought and planning and a lot of time to paint. So for this one, I decided to do something simpler. I had reference photos. You've possibly seen this before, not the specific painting or specific image, but this reference pack. It's from Grafit Studio, and it was one of their mermaid theme packs. It was on sale for mermaid last year, and I did a piece at the time in gouache. So I will try to link to that. And by try, I mean I know how to. I will just probably forget. But I decided to revisit this pack with watercolor and a different lighting scheme. That piece has that reference pack has a bunch of really neat lighting schemes. So I think for that one it was more of like an ultramarine blue and a red, where this is more of an orange and a turquoise. So not a lighting scenario I work with a lot. Definitely a little challenging on that front because obviously you mix those colors together and it's going to get really muddy really quick. But also something I could potentially use going forward. So I definitely want to do some paintings with different lighting scenarios. And one thing I'd like to do, and I've thought about doing in the past, I like camping scenes, the idea of having characters out in a forest, but I haven't done a lot of night scenes, so that's challenge one. And lighting things from a fire, like a campfire, is definitely a different challenge. And simply because I mentioned fire and my brain went right there, if anybody is dealing with, affected by, has friends or family affected by the wildfires in California, sending my best. That whole situation is really, really sad. And yeah, I can donate to charity, but I can't do much else. And just sending my best wishes to everyone affected. But wow, already on a tangent. So yeah, and there's another scene I want to paint that involves a fireplace. So this hopefully is something I could use to help inform future paintings. And yeah, like I said, it was a good challenge, but also because I had a reference photo I was working from directly, it was something where I didn't have to stress out too much to come up with something creative or new. And I just got to allow myself to enjoy the process and try something different. So it was a good painting session overall. Definitely a challenge. Definitely didn't accomplish everything I wanted to do, but hey, I learned, I studied, and I had fun. So that's what's important, especially in these crazy times. So yeah, like I said, definitely just the study. I'm not trying to do a full finished painting. I'm just trying to learn and enjoy the process. Because for me, enjoying the process is more important than having a perfect painting. If I had fun painting it, I'm going to enjoy the final piece a lot more than if I struggled but created something exceptional. So if I created something exceptional but struggled through the whole thing, I will definitely take years before I can look back on that and be like, yeah, that was pretty good, because I have to get over those negative emotions associated with the process first. But yeah, I've never done something quite like this before. In watercolor, I did have that one gouache painting, and I know I struggled a bit through that, but I struggle a bit with gouache anyway because there's still so much to learn. But yeah, I'm really hoping to do more studies of different lighting scenarios and actually create some of those pieces that have been floating around in my brain for a while, because that would be fantastic. I definitely struggle to finish things sometimes, and that brings me to art goals. So I definitely wanted to spend some time in my first speed paint of the year to talk about art goals. I definitely have a lot of goals this year, and some of my personal goals and art goals are going to conflict a little bit. So to some extent, we're going to just have to see how things go and be flexible. One of my big personal goals is to try to fix my sleep habits because they have been terrible since sometime late last year. I think things got messy initially when Juno got sick, and even after she got better, like my sleep habits improved for a bit, but kind of fell apart again. It's really easy for me to give up sleeping habits. Like I actually had a really good routine where I went to bed roughly around 11 p.m. and woke up at 7 a.m. pretty much every day for a long time, and it was going great. And then somehow I just broke it completely, and now I'm living on like 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night for like months, and I need to fix that. So the fact that one of my things I'm doing right now is painting every day, or working in a sketchbook every day, finding the time to do that is conflicting with my need to go to sleep at a reasonable time. So right now, my plan, definitely committed to this challenge for now. I've done this sketchbook. I started this sketchbook on this channel. I did small paintings of animals in my I think it's about 1.5 by 1.5 inch sketchbook. And I'm trying to finish up that sketchbook, filling it up with all these cute little animals, all by recommendation. So that's been really fun too. Painting animals other people request. So I've been having fun with that. I'm getting close to the end. So hopefully in early February, I'll have completed that sketchbook. And at that point, I'll probably stop trying to commit to a drawing every day. If you saw my last video, you know I do keep a 5-year Hobonichi, and in that I do a little doodle every day. So it's not like I don't at least pick up a pen or pencil or watercolor basically every day anyway. But there's a big difference between like a 5-minute doodle I do in that 5-year Hobonichi and a watercolor painting I'm doing. Even if it's tiny, it's still much more commitment. In terms of other painting things I want to do, I have the Italy sketchbook that I never finished, and that one has become one of those things I'm kind of ashamed of. So in October of 2022, I went to Italy and I started a sketchbook there. I was doing sketches and I started to pull out paints. It wasn't really plein air. I think there's one plein air piece, but most of it was I would start a sketch and then I would kind of go back and forth with it while we were there. And I figured I'd finish everything when I got home. I got sick on that trip and it kind of soured things a little bit. So I have a hard time working on that sketchbook. I'll do it for like a little bit and then I'll just forget about it for a long period of time. And I really do need to just finish it. In terms of where I left off, I think I was like a day and a half away within the terms of where I got in the sketchbook from when I got sick. And then after that, we didn't do quite as much. So there really isn't that much left to do in it. And then my plan was, because since I did get sick and I didn't explore as much, so I don't have as much to put in there as like a journal, I thought that after I completed the quote-unquote trip, I would go back and do studies. So any extra pages could be a study of other sculptures I saw, paintings I saw, not necessarily working from my photos because my photos aren't always the best, but just study the art a bit more, doing some master studies. So that's my plan for that. But if I could at least get through the trip part of the journal, I'll feel really accomplished, and the master studies can come when I'm ready. So that's that. I also have a portrait I started of my cat Maggie back before she passed away, and she passed away 2 years ago now. So I started that before she passed and then never got back to it. So I also like to finish that up. At this point, it's just one of those things I've put aside and have a hard time going back to. And it's not like I can't make myself work on it because of the emotional aspect of it. It's just, it's been put aside for too long. So I'd like to get back to that as well. Otherwise, Justin Donaldson is teaching a part 2 of his gouache class. He did the gouache class originally quite some time ago. I think 2020, maybe 2021. And I took it then. I've retaken it since, and I'm really excited about part 2. I think he's releasing the syllabus soon, so I'm very excited to see what it's going to have in it, but I'm pretty much committed to taking it. I definitely want to do more gouache, so it aligns with my goals, and I think it'll be really fun and educational, so I can't complain about that. I really feel like I level up every time I take one of Justin's classes, so no complaints there. And already, that is honestly quite a bit. I have only so much time I could spend working on art, so even those seem like a lot, but other things I'd like to do. I talked about this in my last video, and I was kind of talking off the cuff, but it did sound like a good idea. Continuing my studies of, people who aren't white. I draw a lot of white people, white characters, and I want to get better at painting people from different places. So I thought that, I think what I said in that video was if I could spend like a week just doing like studies of people from a specific group, like for example, maybe this week is like Japanese people, and then like the next week could be Nigerian people. And I know like those groups are not homogenous, so it's not going to be all inclusive, but just to start to focus, like this is how like some of the features, some of the skin colors, like some hair textures, stuff for that group of people, and really study it. Spend a week maybe doing different studies, and then at the end of the week do a painting without using reference to see how much of that I actually internalized. So that could be a project that lasts years. It's not something I'm going to be able to do on a week-to-week basis, but I think it would be really good to do more studies of people from groups outside my own, because I paint enough white people and I need to get better as an artist, and seeing more people, more features, it's only beneficial. So that's something I might try to like slot in if I do create a monthly challenge for myself in the future. That might be one. I also want to do more lighting like this one, so different lighting scenarios, and yes, do a bunch of studies. I have some ideas that I'd like to paint, and I just haven't done them yet because I don't have the skill set. And honestly, this is really definitely the ugly painting phase. I really liked this one when it was really washy and really light, and the more I tried to make it more saturated, which the painting demanded, the more I struggled with it, because I don't usually work in like really saturated colors. So even if I like really hit the nail on the head, I'd like, part of me would try to pull away from that, because bright oranges are just not my comfort zone and I don't like them. So yeah, especially if I want to paint things like people at a campfire or next to a fireplace, I'm going to have to use those colors. I'm going to have to A, not be afraid of them, and B, know how to do it correctly. And this wasn't a reference in front of a fire, but yeah, so I mentioned campfire. I also really so in December I did fan art for Stormlight Archive, and I said I really do like painting book fan art, because you get to have this character in your head as you're reading a story. And while there might be fan art, maybe I haven't seen it yet because I don't want to spoil anything, I like to try to imagine the character as I see them, and then I find it a really fun challenge to try to paint them or draw them. One of the stories I really want to do some more fan art for is the Farseer trilogy, or rather the Elderling, Robin Hobb's Elderling. I think it's Realm of the Elderlings. So there's one scene from the Farseer trilogy that's been in my head since I read it, that I'm like, I need to paint this one day, and it's definitely involving a room that's lit by a fireplace, and I haven't done it, partly because the lighting, especially just trying to do it for my head, the lighting would be a big challenge on its own. So yeah, hopefully I could do some of these studies and actually build the skills I need to do something I'd be happy with. Like this, this is a step in the right direction, but I'm not there yet. So being afraid of oranges is not something that I can use going forward. I need to do better. So yeah. Sorry, this video is going to be a little rambly because I don't know what I'm talking about at this point. No, I'm just... Yeah, I actually like had a voiceover that I had mostly recorded, and then somehow like my mic fell off the desk, and then I was so like surprised that I just had to restart. So I also really don't remember what I said the first time, and I'm trying not to repeat myself because I had to make myself start over. I guess I didn't, but here we are. But yeah, so those are kind of some of the goals I have going forward. I keep saying for this year, it's probably not all stuff I can do in a year if I'm being reasonable, but stuff I'd like to work toward this year, and some of the things I'm planning to do, like the gouache course. And yeah, got a lot of room to grow. So this was a fun study. Definitely struggled with it. Definitely had points of the painting I liked more than where it's at in the long run, but you gotta make some ugly paintings before you can make the good ones. Not everything should come easy. And then here I'm just trying to put some highlights back in, and I really didn't go dark enough with some of the spots to really make the highlights show. And that's just something I always like. It's easy for me to fail on that time and time again, building up enough color to actually put highlights in that are more impactful, and then the nose is just kind of funky. I struggled, but it's okay. I learned a lot, and I'll do better next time, and that's what's important. So yeah, if you made it through this whole video, thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well, taking care of yourself, and yeah, if you have any cool goals, let me know. I'd be interested in hearing them, and hopefully not trying to steal them because I have enough goals already. And yeah, then I decided I needed to repaint the nose, so forgot about that. I tried to get to a good stopping point for this one so I can move on to something else and start studying anew, but it's hard for me to move on sometimes. But yeah, that's all I have. So take care and hope to see you in a future video. Bye.